The Colts play a division game against the Texans. Last week, Jonathan Taylor had over 100 yards receiving. That's cool, but only 53 on the ground. This week against Houston, Taylor's rushing total is set at 80.5 yards. Too high or too low, young Kenneth?
I still think that it's too low. I really believe in Jonathan Taylor here. I think that he's really talented, and he's just going to get the football a lot. When you look at the rankings for the Texans, they're pretty bad. They're down in rushing yards per game, 26th place, 135 per game if you round up, which I always love to round up when we're talking about overs, right? But yeah, Jonathan Taylor, I mean, I just don't think that there's any real concerns that he's not going to get the football here. Like, he did rush, 15 times last week. He's been getting a pretty steady dose of the football. The one time, that he didn't run a lot was against Tennessee, which has a terrible secondary. You got to attack them through the air. And look, while this Houston defense really isn't good at anything, I still think that this is a game where, again, look at that Tennessee game. They lost that game. This is a game where they get in front early. I really believe the Colts have shown a pulse. I think Carson Wentz is kind of, a good leader for this team. I think he's been okay this year. So I think that they can get out in front early, and then they just feed the ball to Jonathan Taylor, and he's just going to gash this defense. Again, if he rushes 15 times, I think he's going to get this over. And while he didn't against Baltimore's a pretty good rushing defense. I think it's going to be a different story this week. I think he gets very involved on the ground, and I think that he shatters this total.
Pearce, is he involved enough on the ground to hit the over here?
No, he's not. This is too high. And it has nothing to do with Taylor. Kenny's right. He's a good running back. He's a great running back. He could easily get 100 yards. But there's one big concern. It's that he's not on the field enough. We've already seen 5 games, and he's playing 50% of the snaps. And then half of those snaps, he's running routes. So Kenny's right again. He's going to get the ball, but a lot of it, like last week, will be through the air. If they give him the ball 20 times on the ground, he'll go past this. But I believe that with 15 carries, which is probably his ceiling, give him about 4 yards per carry, that's not going to get there. He's going to have to break out a big play. And this defense hasn't given up a lot of big runs. So the big issue I have here is Frank Wright working with 3 running backs now, just not giving him a lot of action. In close games, he's not getting a lot of action. This game's not supposed to be close, so I just don't see him getting a lot of work today.
All right, Jeffrey, how about you, dude? Too high or too low here on this rushing yards prop?
I mean, this is an interesting one because Pearce is right. Like, the total is high, but it's high for a reason. The better, or the people who set these lines obviously know what's going to happen here. The Colts are 10-point favorites. When teams are 10-point favorites, they tend to run out the clock with their running back. Pearce mentioned he's not getting touches in close games. Well, that's because they bring Nyheim Hines in when they got to run the hurry up offense and things like that. Well, they're probably not going to be doing that at the end of this game. Teams are averaging over 30 rush attempts against the Houston Texans, and they've held up okay. But I got to side with the talent here. I mean, I really got to think that Jonathan Taylor is going to be a frustrating figure for fantasy because there are going to be weeks where he just gets taken off the field late in the game, but there's also going to be weeks where he just blows the doors off everyone. The 2 games before Baltimore, he averaged 6.4 yards per carry. I see that Jonathan Taylor showing up here, and I want nothing to do with the under in a situation where the Colts are probably going to be using their hammer, which is Jonathan Taylor, to run out the clock late. So I'm going to take the over here. It's a big total, but I really think this is the game where Taylor breaks out as a rusher.